Do you ever find yourself catching your breath a little more these days, or maybe feeling like your energy just isn't keeping up with you the way it used to? It's something a lot of us notice as we hit our 60s and beyond, and it's easy to chalk it up to just getting older. But what if some of the habits we've carried with us, like that evening glass of wine or the cigarette we've smoked for years, are playing a bigger role than we think? I'm so glad you're here with me today because we're going to dig into something that really matters: the effects of smoking and alcohol on senior health. This isn't about guilt trips or lectures, life's too short for that. It's about understanding what these habits do to us as we age and figuring out some practical ways to feel better, stronger, and more like ourselves. We'll walk through 5 key ways smoking and alcohol can impact your health after 60, and I promise it'll be a friendly chat, not a sermon. So, settle in, maybe grab a cup of tea, and let's get started. Let's kick things off with how smoking affects your breathing as you get older. You've probably heard all your life that cigarettes aren't great for your lungs, but it hits different after 60. See, our lungs naturally lose some of their stretchiness over time, and smoking speeds that up big time. I think of my old pal George. He's 68 now, smoked for decades, and he used to laugh off the warnings. But lately, he's been telling me how a short walk to the corner store leaves him huffing like he's climbed a mountain. Experts say smoking damages the tiny air sacs in your lungs, making it harder to get oxygen where it needs to go. That means less energy, more tiredness, and sometimes even a cough that just won't quit. The good news? Even cutting back can help. George swapped one of his daily smokes for a quick sit on the porch with a mint instead, and he swears he's breathing a little easier already. It's not about quitting cold turkey, though that's amazing if you can. It's about giving your lungs a fighting chance to keep you going. Now, while we're talking about what's going on inside, let's shift to how alcohol can mess with your sleep. I know that nightcap might feel like it's helping you unwind. Maybe it's a glass of whiskey or a little wine with dinner. And sure, it can make you drowsy at first. But here's the catch: as we age, our bodies don't handle alcohol the same way. My neighbor Linda, who's 65, used to enjoy a glass before bed, but she started noticing she'd wake up at 3 a.m., wide awake and groggy the next day. Turns out, alcohol messes with the deep sleep we need to feel rested. It's like your brain's stuck in a shallow puddle instead of diving into a good, refreshing pool. Experts say even one drink can throw off your sleep cycle, and for us over 60, that can mean more fatigue and less pep in our step. Linda tried switching to a warm herbal tea instead, and she says she's sleeping like a baby now. It's a small tweak, but it's amazing how much better you feel when your body gets real rest. So, we've got smoking tightening up your lungs and alcohol stealing your sleep, 2 big pieces of the energy puzzle. But there's another part of this that hits close to home for a lot of us: how these habits affect your heart. That's where we'll head next, because keeping that ticker strong is everything as we enjoy these golden years. Your heart's been with you through a lot, hasn't it? It's carried you through long days, big moments, and quiet nights, and after 60, it deserves a little extra love. That's why it's worth talking about how smoking and alcohol can put some real strain on it. Let's start with smoking. Those cigarettes don't just hit your lungs, they sneak into your bloodstream and make your heart work overtime. I think of my cousin Frank, who's 71. He smoked for years and always figured he was fine because he stayed active. But then his doctor told him his blood pressure was creeping up, and those little arteries were getting stiff from all that nicotine. Experts say smoking narrows your blood vessels and builds up gunk in them, so your heart's pumping harder just to keep things moving. Frank started cutting back, replaced his afternoon smoke with a piece of gum, and he says he feels less winded now. It's not about perfection. Even easing up can lighten the load on that hard-working heart of yours. Now, let's pour a little attention on alcohol and what it does to that same ticker. You might enjoy that evening drink to relax, and in small amounts, it might not seem like a big deal. But as we get older, our hearts get pickier about how much they can handle. My friend Ruth, who's 67, used to have a couple of glasses of wine most nights, nothing wild, just her routine. Then she started noticing her heart fluttering sometimes, like it was skipping a beat. Turns out, alcohol can throw off your heart's rhythm, especially after 60 when it's not as quick to bounce back. Experts say too much can raise your blood pressure and even weaken the heart muscle over time. Ruth didn't ditch wine completely, she just dialed it back to 1 glass, maybe twice a week, and she swears those flutters have calmed down. It's all about finding a balance that keeps your heart humming along without extra stress. While we're on the topic of keeping things steady, let's talk about how these habits can play tricks on your balance, literally. Smoking and drinking don't just mess with what's inside, they can make staying on your feet a little trickier, and that's something we'll explore next because staying steady matters more than ever as we age. Staying steady on your feet might not be something you think about every day, but as we get older, it's one of those quiet blessings we don't want to lose. That's where smoking and alcohol can sneak in and throw things off balance, literally. Let's start with smoking and how it messes with your legs and coordination. My old friend Doris, who's 69, smoked for years and always had this tough-as-nails attitude about it. But she started noticing her legs felt weaker, and she'd stumble a bit going up the stairs. Experts say smoking cuts down the oxygen getting to your muscles because it's clogging up those blood vessels we talked about earlier. Less oxygen means shakier legs and a higher chance of tripping or falling, something none of us want when a fall can take longer to bounce back from after 60. Doris decided to try skipping her morning cigarette for a walk around the block instead, and she's been amazed at how much steadier she feels. It's not about fixing everything overnight, it's about giving your body a little more strength to keep you upright. Now, alcohol's got its own way of tipping the scales when it comes to balance. You've probably felt that wobbly moment after a drink or two, but as we age, our bodies don't shake it off as fast. I remember my buddy Jim, who's 66, he'd have a couple of beers watching the game and laugh about being a little clumsy getting up. But one night he tripped over the ottoman, and it wasn't so funny anymore. Experts say alcohol hits your nervous system harder after 60, slowing down the signals between your brain and your muscles. That's why even a small amount can make you unsteady, and it sticks around longer because our livers aren't as quick to clear it out. Jim started switching to a soda water with a twist of lime for most of his game nights, and he says he's not just dodging furniture, he's got more zip in his step, too. It's a simple swap that keeps him sure-footed and feeling good. So, we've got smoking weakening your legs and alcohol throwing off your coordination, two things that can make staying active and independent a lot tougher. But there's one more piece to this puzzle that ties it all together, how these habits can fog up your mind. We'll dive into that next, because keeping your head clear is just as important as keeping your body strong in these years.